You too. Welcome. Anybody that's watching right now live, welcome to OGMarv Whispers. This is my channel where I vent, laugh, cry, and deal with him. That's my son, Marshawn. I'm celebrating today. It's the end of a milestone, and very important milestone in my life. You see, I've been paying child support and arrearages since I was 17 years old. I'm 67 right now as I speak to you. That's 50 years, people. 50 long years that various counties have been in my wallet because I had to pay for people like him. Which, like in this case, now I'm on people like me that have minor children like him. Those kids get their own checks that doesn't affect mine. Thank God. Boy, will you stop? Stop. See, that's why I was going to make you go in the house. I'm sorry, people. This is my son, Marshawn, and he's just dying to have his face on TV. Anyway, today is a happy day. I'm done paying child support or arrearage to anybody else ever again. I made it. I lived long enough to see this day happen. I almost can't believe that I'm here. It's been 50 years since I've seen a whole check of the money that I earned from any place I earned it from. I worked all my life. I've had the fortune of, or the good fortune of having applied for and gotten very decent jobs. I started off at Wells Fargo Bank, and then I moved on to San Quentin State Prison. And from there, I applied for and was hired at AC Transit to drive city bus. AC Transit, State of California, and Wells Fargo all paid very well. I made really good money at all three of those places. I think Wells Fargo might have been the toughest because at Wells Fargo, I was trained to be what they call a skip trace artist. What that means is that everybody that was in my queue, like when I turn on my computer at work and go into my what they call queue, everybody in my queue were people that Wells Fargo had no idea where the hell those people were. These people had, borrowed money, made loans, car loans, auto loans, home loans, and various other kinds of loans that banks do, and ran off. The bank had no idea where these people were. After I got hurt and couldn't drive the bus anymore, AC Transit sent me to school, and I decided to take up computer software. Smart move, because I kind of knew this computers were going to be the thing in the future, and I was right. And as a result of that, that gave me the basis to learn how to operate a computer, work on them. I even had a little small business at one time where I would come to your house and program your computer for you. And I was fairly cheap because I just like doing it. Although it was kind of my job, but I've never been a money person. I'm still not. I could care less about money. I know that money is important in order to, to live, and it's a necessity. And that's how I see it. I don't see it, as, oh my God, like Mary, my lady, for instance, she's money driven. That's all she thinks about. That's pretty much her whole conversation most of the time is about money. Mary did well. She drove the bus a lot longer than I did. I only was there for 10 years. Mary did like 32. And if you ask me, she ought to still be on it. Because, she's just now starting to, like we've been together 4 years. She's just now starting to accept retirement or being retired, not having to go to work to still earn a paycheck. I'm good at it, been good at it, love it, okay? Retirement was right up my alley. I started off on Social Security disability because I had hurt my knee on the bus, getting on the bus. And every time I get on that damn bus, I'd hit my knee on that goddamn fare box. And I'm going to tell you right now, people, that don't feel good. That hurt like hell. And I'd cuss and sit my ass down and drive that damn bus. But the fare box really was too close to the driver's seat, to be honest with you. And I always hit that damn fare box at some point during my shift. So eventually I ended up having to have an operation and have some kind of fancy terminology that they use to describe it medically. But anyway, it's like, from what I was told by the doctors, it's the equivalent of your knees have shocks like a car. Well, my shocks were taken out. They stopped working. So I had to have an operation that made me have to go on Social Security disability. And I actually haven't worked since, and I'm fine with that. I went to work out of necessity, more so than love for working. A lot of people, like Mary. Mary loved working. She won't admit it, but she loved getting up, going to work, and going to the guild room and talking to all the bus drivers and all that stuff. And she tried to do that with me when I first moved in with her. But I ain't down with all that talky shit. I'm very much, I grew up by myself, so I'm used to being by myself pretty much, and so therefore I didn't have a need I don't have a need to talk and be social. In fact, I prefer not to be. Will you stop? Matter of fact, go in the house. Go. That boy is just a clown. But anyway, like I was saying, I prefer not to. I don't like spotlight. That was about the hardest thing to get over on both jobs, as like being a correctional officer at San Quentin. Having a position of authority over criminals can be a little overwhelming, to say the least. And the same can be said for driving people around the city on a bus, especially when you don't know the route. I remember when I first started at AC Transit, I first started out at what they call Division 4. That's on Seminary in East Oakland. And one day I got assigned, like when you first get out of bus driving school, they put you on it's like a merry-go-round of bus drivers that drive bus to bus to bus, different buses, different days. I hated that. But before, you can't, like if you come in the middle of what they call a sign up, you don't have any control of that. You have to do the jobs they give you to do, and basically do what you're told until you get to sign up. Now, once you get to sign up, depending on whether it's a district sign up or it's what they call I forgot what they actually call it, but for this purpose of this show, I'm gonna call it a local sign up. That means you can only sign on buses that's in the division that you work out of. So like if you work out of Seminary division, and if it's not September, because that's when they have what they call the general sign up, where you can go anywhere that when it's your turn to sign up is available. And I spent like 10 years there. And when I first came in, I came in the middle of a sign up. It was like in July and August. Sign up's not till September. So I remember those hot ass days working in East Oakland out of that seminary yard. And I didn't like it worth a damn. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hated that yard. But you have a choice. You want that job, you're gonna do what you have to do. But trust me, I was so glad when September came. That's what they call a general sign-up time. And I took my ass. I wanted to go to Richmond, but Richmond was closed by the time they got down to me. And I actually didn't mind Emeryville, and I worked a 4 line from like 6 at night to 2 in the morning because that's all was available. But I didn't mind that either because I actually liked that shit. Because I don't like getting up early. I despise getting up early in the morning. I hate that. Most people, want to come to work at, 4 or 5 o'clock and get off at 12, 1 o'clock. I ain't that person. I'm that person who wants to come to work at 6, 7 o'clock and get off at 2, 3 in the morning. I'm good. I enjoyed that job, at the bus company. I didn't enjoy San Quentin worth a fuck. I'm going to be honest with you. I was proud of myself for having, went through the academy and well, for first, getting hired. So that in and of itself was an accomplishment because the day that they gave the test, because I saw an ad in the, back in the day when they used to put ads in the newspaper for jobs. I used to always be scouring the one ad, and so I saw where San Quentin was hiring. And this is kind of funny because, you would think that they were doing this mass hiring thing, and that's not what it was. So I applied for San Quentin, and got lucky enough to pass the test and get called to an interview. And it turned out that what it was that 2 lady officers, I started to say guards, 2 lady correctional officers were fired in the middle of the academy that they were in for having sex with the inmates. How fucking stupid can you be? That I was one of the people that actually got picked to come to an interview, as well as passed the interview and actually got hired. I couldn't believe it. The test was given at Chabot College in Hayward, and that auditorium or cafeteria, it was some big room, and it was full. It was jam packed with people taking the test. Out of all those people taking the test, there were only 2 openings. They gave that test to all the people just to hire and look for and hire 2 people. I was lucky enough to get one of the spots, and a guy who later became my best friend named Gerald Anderson got the other one. Gerald's no longer with us, which is, in my opinion, very unlikely between the 2 of us that he would be the one that's not here anymore. To look at Gerald and I, anybody would think that if anyone were asked by just looking at us, which one of us were the stronger person, to look at Gerald would be the obvious choice. Because Gerald was a light-skinned guy like me, very nice looking black man, about 6'2" or 3, and he talked like this. Good morning, Macking One. That's what he used to call me. When we were in the academy, we were roommates. So in the morning, he had this real booming voice, and He'd be like, Matt, are you up yet? We got to go to class. So if I wasn't up, I was now. I loved Joe. I ended up being real good friends with him. Juro left San Quentin and accepted a position with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. Alameda County Sheriff's Office at that time, and I'll bet $1 to a donut still, has racial problems among the officers. Those officers at Santa Rita didn't like Juro and arranged for him to have his ass whipped by the inmates to the point where they fucked his back up. Your back is the one thing that even today doctors cannot put back together the way it was and make it like it was. They don't have the knowledge nor the technology in which to do that, which is unfortunate because that's what happened to Juro. His back, they fucked his back up. And Juro was never able to work again. That bothered him quite a bit. Plus, he had married this fucked up ass bitch. I mean, she was a fucked up ass bitch for no reason, saying she went out of her way to make life difficult as she possibly could. And, after she had 2 kids with him. Of course, she put him on child support and was constantly, fucking with him all the time. I hate bitches like that. Because, I was just explaining to a friend of mine that how the child support thing works. A lot of people don't know, especially guys my age, like my buddy I was just talking to. He was telling me how he, just used to pay for his daughter directly to the mother. And luckily for him, his baby mama worked. I had baby mamas that didn't work and were on welfare. What people some people don't know or understand is that the way it works is like this. If your baby's mama goes on welfare and gets food stamps, the district attorney automatically flags your social security number and enters you into the system that automatically puts you on child support. The mother has no say in that. You don't either. It's automatically done the moment she turns in her information to receive a check. And the district attorneys don't give a fuck about fathers, okay? I'm going to say that right now, guys. Nobody gives a fuck whether you eat or you don't eat or whether you have enough money to live on or not. If you make babies, and I wish my father had sat down and talked to me about these things, but I don't think he knew either, but that's another old story because my father had issues with sex, and that's another old video. Point is, I wasn't aware of a lot of things about life and had to learn them on my own. Hell, I thought I was one of them people, I was one of them youngsters who grew up thinking that in order to get a woman pregnant, you pee in her. Of course, that's not what you do. But, I'm a stupid young kid. I don't know no better. And I didn't have the guidance I should have had to learn better. Like I can tell my son, and I tell my other sons, I got grown sons now too, but they didn't listen to me. But at least I know that I told them. Now they had kids. One of my sons has kids with a bitch that's so fucked up. I feel like smacking that bitch in the mouth my goddamn self, and she ain't even my woman. But she's ignorant. She's an ignorant ass bitch, and I have no idea how he found her. See, women can do one or two things to a guy. She can either really make him happy and be the love of his life, or at the very least, in the case of that happening, should she change her mind, she can at least be civil and fair-minded, and not be out to fuck him around any way she can. Most black women are just pretty much apathetic to the whole idea of anything. You know, they just don't really get it. They don't give a fuck. I'm a little perturbed at the fact that I'm gonna use this as an example, and I'm gonna say the name because I don't give a fuck. Because the bitch don't speak to me anyway. I had 3 children with a lady named Sharon. 2 boys and a girl. The girl passed away 6 months into her life, which the doctors told us at the time she was born that this was going to happen. But she was doing so well, neither Sharon nor I actually believed it. We thought that the doctors had just made a mistake and she was going to be all right. They didn't make a mistake. And no, she was not all right. She passed away after 6 months. But our 2 sons are still roaming the world. And it's funny because those 2 boys are as different as night and day. One is very responsible, very intelligent, has a really good job for some company. I have no idea what the fuck he does. But what I know is that he's doing well, very well. The other one is a mixture of me and somebody else along one of our families, either Sharon's or mine. Because his ass is what's the word? His ass is hell bent on being with white women, and that ends up getting him in trouble with the law. Because eventually white women get tired of it. And they don't have no problem with putting you in jail, testifying against you, or whatever. I mean, you know, women in general, and I don't mean to offend, you know, the women in my family or anybody else's, but women in general are pretty fucked up individuals just because they're women. You know, women, as most people know, think with emotion, whereas men think with logic. If it ain't logical, we don't do it. If you don't love a woman the way she thinks you ought to, hell hath no wrath like that bitch. And she'll get you. She's gonna get you. You ain't gotta worry about it. She's gonna get you. So your best bet is to be nice to her and hope like hell that at the very least she just ignores you. I'd rather be ignored than fucked with by a woman like that. So that leads me into what my point is kind of on my show tonight. Because earlier, I think yesterday, I came across one of my baby mamas on Facebook. I just happened to, I don't remember what I was doing, but somehow her Facebook popped up. So I clicked on it and I left her a message and I spoke to her. I had 3 bitches. I had 3 kids with this bitch. Okay, 3, 2 boys and a girl. Yet this bitch doesn't even fucking speak to me anymore. Yet I'm the father of her 3 children. How fucking dysfunctional do you think that is? I think it's damn dysfunctional and disrespectful, to say the least, to me. I deserve respect. I did nothing to that bitch except pay my child support and, was around as much as I could be for my sons. You think she appreciate any of that? Hell no. Hell fucking to the no. I'm upset about the fact that I'd be ignored, disrespected, downright fucked over. Yet they had no problems cashing my motherfucking checks. Oh yeah, they cashed the checks. Fucking bitches. Yeah, they cashed them fucking checks. I got a daughter that thinks that she has some rights of entitlement because she's my daughter, that I owed her something. I'm gonna tell you right now, parents don't owe kids a motherfucking thing. They don't owe them shit. And especially fathers, if you want to know the truth, because I'm gonna tell you this: when it comes to whether or not that lady is gonna have a baby, the father has no fucking say. It doesn't make a motherfucking difference what I feel or what I think or what I want. It's whatever the bitch wants. That's what matters. So the bitch can get pregnant, spend your fucking money and sleep damn good at night, and yet not give you the time of motherfucking day. Am I bitter about it and pissed off? You goddamn right I am. Fuck them motherfucking bitches. That's the reason I came on here today, because this was fuck Mother's Day. I paid every goddamn dime I was supposed to. Every motherfucking dime, okay? I wasn't no deadbeat motherfucking father. I was a damn active father and was active in as many of my kids' lives as I was allowed to be. I love my children, regardless of how I feel about the mother or regardless to how they were conceived. I still love them. I took care of them. I paid my dues. I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks. I was a damn good father. I was the best father I could possibly be. It's my will and obligation to give anybody that I deal with the best Marvin I have to give to you. And if I'm up short, it's because I didn't have anything else left. I care. I cared about the mothers. I cared about my children. A lot of the mothers didn't give a motherfuck about me. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. And I know it. And the mothers who I'm talking about, they know who the fuck they are. They know exactly who they are. One of the mothers I had a kid with back in the day, at that particular time, I had only 3 children. This fucked up ass bitch thought that I was going to abandon my other kids that were already here and concentrate on the baby she was having. The bitch was an idiot. And any woman or man who has or decides to be with somebody who already has children better know that that's a fucking package goddamn deal. And if you're not willing to accept the package, don't fuck with that person. Don't expect that person to abandon or ignore the children that were already here before you. Are you a fucking idiot? What do you think I am? Because I'm not. I'm clearly not. I'm a good and decent person. My parents raised me right, and I love them for that. While I don't agree necessarily with my mother's modus operandi, or however they say that in police work, she still was a decent and good mother to a point. Yeah, she abused me. I'm a victim of child abuse. In this day and time, the shit she was doing to me would have landed her in jail. But she was doing what she knew how to do the best way she could. I understand that. I don't like it, but I understand it. She meant well. Obviously, she did a fairly decent job. I turned out to be a pretty cool guy and a decent person with a conscience, and I care about other people beside myself. That was taught to me by my mom and my dad, and I've tried to teach that to my kids. And from what I can tell, it seems to have been working, with the exception of maybe one or two. There's always one or two in any basket that is not going to be good, But that's life. It's a part of life. You're never going to have a completely perfect family or perfect anything, because we're humans, and humans aren't perfect ever, really. Anyway, I'm so happy to have gotten here to see today and to see this time in my life happen. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I love me some Marvin. I love the man I became. I love the man that I was as I was on my way here. Because I've always been a good person. I've always been unable to hurt people purposely and knowingly. I would never hurt even a bug unless I have to, or it's in my way, or I'm scared of it. Those are the only reasons I would ever do even a bug harm. It's just not in my DNA to be that type of person. I'm glad that my parents raised me the way they did, and I hope that I am following in their footsteps to some degree in raising my children. Although most of mine are grown. I only got two left that ain't grown. That's the two that I had with Shanika that I have here with me, because I want to make damn sure that they don't end up like her. She's no model for any child to follow, or any human being for that matter. She allowed my son to be dropped by some niggas she was fucking, and then called me up and told me a damn lie. So that because it was my week to go pick Marshawn up, and she called me before she knew I was going to be on the road, and told me that, Marshawn's got a big lump on his head, and his teeth are chipped because he was running around the house acting crazy. I believe that stupid bitch. I never doubted a word that came out of her mouth. It never even dawned on me that I needed to be aware of what she was saying and weary of it. I just point blank took her for her word. Until one day, Marshawn was sitting out here with me. This is my man cave, in case you haven't figured this out. This is where I run the world from right here. uh, it's really nice out here. This is actually our garage. As you can see, I got my Raider motif. I change that every now and then to 49ers and the Eagles because those are my three teams. Because those are my hometowns where I come from. And also have a nice fish tank. Actually, two of them, side by side. I don't know if I can show it to you, but I'm gonna try. Work how it works. Let's see, it's not that way. Oh, there it goes. There's my babies. As you can see, I got big old pacus in there, and there's two Oscars in there. They're like all of them are all like teenagers right now. They ain't finished growing, and at some point, I'm already knowing I'm gonna have to get a bigger pen. But for right now, that one will do, or those two will do. I keep my feeders in a small one, so I'll go out and buy like 100, 150 feeders. Because Oscars and pacus, them damn fish can eat. They love goldfish, and I love watching them do it. Even the chase, for them to run after them and catch them, it's fun to watch. Doggy dog world in there as well as out here. Anyway, I digressed and I got away from my point. I want to say thank you to a couple of the moms. Lisa, debutante, Tanya, I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. Lisa, Debbie, Tanya, and Carolyn. Those were real ladies, real mothers, and they treated me right, even during and after the breakup. The rest of them bitches, fuck you. You see this? Fuck you. I mean that. You weren't worth the time it took me to fuck you to make the kids. You're ghetto, classist, and disgusting. And I don't appreciate a goddamn thing you did. But I appreciate you getting the fuck up out of my motherfucking wallet. I appreciate that. Because you damn sure weren't worth the money I spent. Not at all. Had I been older, wiser, I wouldn't even fuck with you. Because you were looking for a paycheck. I'm going to tell you another story. I think I may have said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Patsy. I didn't know her. I was sitting on my bus reading my newspaper at the end of the line on 73rd and MacArthur behind the fire station there in Oakland. And Patsy walked up to me on the driver's side of the bus. And she said, "Excuse me, sir. What are you?" And I looked down at her and I said, "What am I? I'm a human being." And she said, "No, I don't mean that. I mean, what nationality are you?" And I really didn't want to answer because that question irritates the hell out of you. What the fuck difference does it make what nationality I am? But I just decided to play along, and I told her, I said, I'm black and white. I'm both. And she said, "Oh, okay," and she left. Next thing I know, she's riding the bus, getting on my bus, and she would get on like at 70. I guess at 71st and Foothill, because that's like takes a break behind the fire station on 73rd and MacArthur, and then it goes around this little turn and goes in front of the fire station on Foothill and down to the first stop on the way to Berkeley. And that stop is always full of people because Eastmont Mall is right there. At the time, Eastmont Mall was open and, you know, still pretty busy. So there was a lot of people at the bus stop when I pulled up. And so she would get on. Sometimes I wouldn't even know she was on until I happened to look in my rearview mirror for whatever reason and notice that, oh, because she was pretty. I ain't gonna lie. Cassie was a pretty motherfucker, but she was just as ignorant as she was pretty in terms of not school ignorant, but life ignorant. That was one ignorant ass bitch. Serious, straight up. And I don't give a fuck if she sees this and gets pissed off. I don't give a damn. Because she didn't do a fucking thing for me, okay? Nothing. But gave me fucking trouble. I moved in with her for a while, and then I didn't like it. I decided I wanted to move out. But I knew she was gonna give me trouble if I moved out while she was at home. So she had went somewhere, and I called one of my buddies, and I told him, I said, hey, I want to leave Patsy, so I need you to come over here real quick and help me get my shit out of here. Because we were actually staying with her, I think her parents, but or in her parents' place or something. It was her mom. No, we hadn't gotten in the apartment. We were still staying at her parents' house down in the basement. And so I was ready to leave because I had enough of her and her bullshit. And because Patty was full of bullshit. She was the one that thought that because she had a baby by me, a new baby, that I should just abandon the other three and concentrate on this one. You know, I told her, bitch ass, are you fucking stupid? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to abandon my other kids because we have a baby. I'm going to deal with those kids and this one too. And that's what I did. And so, but I moved out on her, and she came home a little bit too quick. I almost got all my shit out, but I still had a few things left. And her ass came home and saw, that I was moving, got mad as fuck, went downstairs and grabbed all my shit and was throwing it all over the place. I'll never forget that fucking stupid bitch. I'll never forget that as long as I live. And I don't give a fuck if my son sees this and doesn't like it, because he's been very disrespectful to me too. And Patsy claims she never talked bad about me in front of him, but that boy has treated me like shit from the time he became cognizant that I was his father until the time that we just don't fuck with each other, period, no more. I haven't seen Brandon in years. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a fuck if I never see him. I think it's disgusting that, and I'm going to say this too, and I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks about this. I don't like interracial marriages. I don't. I'm not down with it, even though I'm a product of something of that nature. I think that my mom and whoever my real father is, I believe he was black. But my grandmother, my actual grandmother, my mother's mother, was white. My grandpa was one of the people who like white women. So that's the reason I'm so light. And because my mother is exactly the same color I am. And she tried to say over the years that I was adopted, but I don't believe that shit either. I don't believe I was adopted at all. I don't think that. I think that whole story was a fucking lie, because my father, or her husband, and the guy that I know, the only guy I know is my father, his name was James. James was what you call medically impudent. In other words, he couldn't fuck for whatever reason. I don't know whether his dick wouldn't get hard. I don't know what the issue was as to why he was unable to perform. But I was not his biological child. My mother cheated on him. That's what I figured out. And then he got himself stationed in Germany, and they stayed over there for about 2 or 3 years. And I was born there. I don't think that anybody knew she was even pregnant because I think they left Philadelphia before anybody could find out or figure out what was going on. People back in the 50s, I swear there's some shady motherfuckers. And because they didn't have computers and things of that nature, you could get anybody to do any damn thing or say any damn thing for a few dollars. You know what I'm saying? You rub the right fingers and the right hands, or grease the right wallets or whatever they call it. You can get anybody to say anything you want them to back in those days. His biological child. But I'm gonna tell you something. James Caan treated me well. He was good to me. I'm gonna share another story with you right quick. One Christmas, because we had property in Philadelphia and we had property in Oakland, so we're on both coasts. Well, my mother went to Philadelphia during the Christmas season to handle some business with the houses she owned there. My dad, in the meantime, had went out and bought me some Christmas gifts and put them under the tree, and Christmas had actually come, and he gave them to me. My mother called, I think, that night or the next day, and my dad told her, what he had done. My mother was furious and told him to take them goddamn gifts, put them back in the box, and take them back to the store. I didn't hear that conversation, or not all of it, really well, but I could tell from listening to his end of it that it wasn't going well, to say the least. So he ended up, doing what she told him to do, and he tried his best to explain to me, what happened and why. But I just started crying because that hurt me. Which leads me to this. That hurt me to the core of my being. But it also signaled a red flag to me that I didn't understand or read until a couple of years ago, to be honest with you. Which is why I'm very big on trying to get the message out to people to treat your children well. Let me say that again. Treat your children well. Because how you treat them, so will the world. If you love and respect your children, the world will love and respect your children too. If you disrespect them and treat them like shit, the world will do the same. It's very important. I know it doesn't seem like it's much, or it's nothing that's tangible that you can see or put your hands on. But trust me, this is exactly how that works. How your parents treat you is how the world treats you. And it's not until you become old enough and have the means of being able to dictate what goes on in your life that it changes. Right now, I'm in charge of my own life, and life's not bad. I'm not entirely satisfied with some aspect of it, but it's palatable. I'm comfortable. If it never changes, I'm okay with it. I landed in a good spot, luckily. And I want to take this time to also thank the high powers for putting me in this position, because I was surely headed to being homeless and in the streets had some things not happened the way they happened. I'm very fortunate and appreciative of my good fortune. Anyway, I done talked for damn near an hour. I had a lot to say. every time I do these shows, um, because a piece of me stays on the video, and sometimes I go back and watch them too. My earlier videos when I first started out actually are hilarious to me to some degree, but also very sad as well. This channel was born out of hurt and pain and confusion in my head. I was about to lose it before I discovered and remembered. Because I remember one time I was looking around on YouTube and I discovered that just anybody could do videos. And so when I was going through some really bad dark times, I thought about YouTube and I remembered that, hey, I can actually vent and get my story out there. And so I did that, and it actually did me a world of good. It was very, very therapeutic and very, very helpful, and is partially responsible for why I'm still here on this planet. Because at the time when I found this, I was actually had enough and wanted off. I wanted to stop the world and get the fuck off. This was my stop. So I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I'm still here. I'm glad that I was intelligent enough to understand that I needed to understand myself. And I'm glad this platform was available for me to use to save my life. In essence, I mean, in all honesty, that's what YouTube did for me inadvertently. So, with that being said, I'm going to sign out of here. I think I ran my mouth long enough, and plus I'm ready to smoke some weed, and I'm going to actually watch this video myself. I think I've gotten better over the years. I know I was probably really raw at first. I'm still kind of raw as people that do this type of thing are. Because I watched other people's videos. This lady named Nick at Night, she's really pretty good. And Tommy Sotomayor is absolutely my idol. He's the one that actually got me to thinking, and he doesn't even know it. I don't even know him personally, but I used to be a real big fan of his, and I used to watch his videos. And this guy talks about black women like a dog, and he's right. A lot of the shit he says is right, is rank. It's not every black woman that he's talking about. And that's where the problems come in, because black folks that watch this show get offended by him, because, especially the females, because they think that he's talking about all of them. And he's not. He's talking about the ghetto fabulous bitches that think they got it on. Think they got it going on because everybody want to fuck them because they got a big ass. What they don't know is, if they didn't have that ass, would nobody want to fuck with them, period. So they don't bring them to the table. All they bring to the table, go back now. I got to hold on a second. I can't say this. I don't want to say this in front of him. The only thing that a black ghetto female, and let me say this another way. The only thing that an uneducated, ignorant black female brings to the table is her big ass and halfway good pussy. If ignorant ghetto bitches didn't have a big ass and good pussy, nobody would give them the time of day. The only reason everybody be hollering at them is because of the way their ass looks. Or titties, depending on who the guy is and what he's into. In my case, it's ass. You got a nice ass? I will tell you another little story real quick. I got 3 sons by a lady named Tanya. I saw Tanya at 7 o'clock in the morning while I was driving the 67 bus in Richmond. Tanya, I was on San Pablo Avenue, almost about to go into the El Cerrito BART station. And I saw this lady Now, mind you, I'm on San Pablo Avenue. This lady is, you know how like you could be on a main thoroughfare and there's a grocery store, a big grocery store with a big parking lot, but the grocery store is like, at least like about a block and a half away. I saw this lady walking through that grocery store because it wasn't even open yet. She wasn't going to the store. She was actually on her way to some dude's house. But I saw her big ass. This lady, Tanya, had the nicest, biggest, roundest ass of all the girls and wives and women I ever been with. It was amazing. I saw that ass at 7 o'clock in the morning. I pulled nobody was on that bus. There's nobody hardly ride to 67 anyway. Because they don't go nowhere but up into Kensington and rich people part of the Richmond Hills. And those people up there don't ride the bus. I don't even know why they set the bus up there. But anyway, I was on that bus. And I was driving that bus. And I pulled that bus over. And I looked at her. And I said, hey! I said, hey! And so she looked at me. And she's like, me? I'm like, yeah, you! I said, come here. So she came over to the bus. And so I said, where you going this early in the morning? And you're walking. And she said, oh, I was going to this guy I know's house. I said, really? I said, what, is this your boyfriend or something? I'm trying to figure out who the dude is and what their relationship is. So anyway, long story short, I figured it all out. And in my mind, he wasn't really on the map. So I told her, I said, hey, why don't you come and go with me? I said, I'm going to go over here to the bar station and take my break. Why don't you come on over there with me for a minute? And I said, I can bring you back here if that's what you want to do. So she said, okay. And she got on the bus, and we started talking, and it went well. And so when it was time for me to go back the other way, I told her, I said, you know what? I said, let me pay for your phone call, and you go call that nigga and tell him you're not gonna make it today. And so she said, really, you want me to call? I said, yeah. I said, here, I'm gonna even pay for your phone call, and you call that nigga and tell him you're not gonna make it today. And so she said, okay. And so she called him, told him he wasn't gonna make it. I was with her for the next almost 10 years. She never made it back to him. I had 3 children with her. I love that woman to death. I couldn't believe when she told me one day that she didn't love me. Ouch. That hurt. Because I was still very much in love with her. I have a place in my heart for her to this very day, even though she's passed away. She's not even on this planet. But I still love her. She's my heart. She always will be. In some ways, I'm kind of hoping that either her or Debbie are waiting for me when it's my time to go. Her or Debbie, I'll be happy either way. Okay, now I'm really going to give it up. If you watch my channel, you watch this show, I know it was long-winded today. I appreciate you watching it. This is a very kind of important milestone for me, and I want to celebrate it by remembering where I came from and how long it took me to get here, and the trials and tribulations, blood and tears that were all shed in order for me to be where I am today. 50 years, people. 50 years of paying out my money to somebody else. Brought to an end. It ends now. I'm a happy camper. I have a lot of memories. Remember to look out for each other. Treat each other right. Life is really short. It doesn't last forever. And you can't take nothing in life with you.
Are you ready to eat?
Yes. So treat each other right. Have each other back. Be safe. Hopefully you'll be around for my next video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like before you go. I'm OGMarv. This is OGMarv Whispers. Thank you and good night.